Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome! Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the PreParty, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J-Cal, and every Tuesday, I am committed to be here with you, that hashtag NWA fam, to talk all things NWA wrestling. Of course, it's Tuesday, and that means it's power. Power. Hey, this is Tuesday. I see I got a bunch of my friends in the chat, so let me say hi to you guys real quick. Steve G's here. What's up, Steve G? Willie Bowen's here. The Jamming Music Band is here. My pal Bobby Petito's in the house. We got Ryan Davis here. What's up? What's up? Shreky Baby's here. What's going on, Shrek? Yeah, it is a Power Tuesday, and your boy Jay hit the power this morning at the gym, and I was cultivating the power of the Warriors. Actually, no, I was barely getting by, scraping by on my good looks and charm, which I don't have a lot of. So, anyways, it is Tuesday, and like I said, we do talk about NWA Power here on the PreParty. And I'm excited that you guys are here to join me. I see there's a bunch of you here. You guys keep pouring in. Sean Mega's in the house. What's up, Sean Mega? Ryan Davis is predicting that we'll have a new television champion, Mr. Carson Drake. I like Carson Drake better when he was known as Jordan Clearwater, and I don't really care that much about Jordan Clearwater either. Chris Drummond says, no one cares about Power. The Exodus Pro Saturday is the focus. I mean, that's coming up too. I mean, and this is what a wonderful time to be a fan of the NWA. I know a lot of people will come on here and complain like, hey, I can't watch the NWA on my television program. Chris Dogg and Sean Mega and Willie Bone will know this, but, you know, at one point, our beloved National Wrestling Alliance back in about 2006 had a national distribution deal with Colors TV in which you could watch the NWA if you had Colors. And this wasn't like it is now where you could upload a whole show onto YouTube. There was no way to watch it. If you did not get Colors or had some way to watch it from Colors, you were just left out in the cold. Today, I will venture a guess to say that X is probably not the most popular app, the most popular social media platform out there. I mean, I still feel that YouTube is probably the bigger get. You probably get more eyeballs on the product. But by presenting the NWA Power on X, I mean, they're being seen by so many eyeballs. And it's completely free. There's no pay window. So I think as wrestling fans, we need to celebrate that for a moment. We're not paying for Power, and we can watch it. We can watch it. It's not happening in a vacuum. We're not reading results. We can watch it anytime we want. And the NWA has generously also continued to upload matches on their YouTube account, which does make them money, right? It does put money in their pocket. But to again, they're making it as palatable as possible. I mean, the only way it might be better is if it was on a different social media platform. I know a lot of people don't like X. I know a lot of people who have left X. There's been a mass exodus of people who go to the X platform to other places. Blue Sky is one of them. Even the NWA has a Blue Sky account. But I will say this, you got to give it the devil their due. The NWA has made that product available for you to watch completely free. You don't even need to have an X subscription. You just follow the link, and they do post that link in more than just on X. They also posted it on their other social media platforms, so you can watch it, and it's free. I'm going to get to some of the comments here. Bobby Bettito asked me a good question. Your thoughts on Jack Cartwheel and Zara Sakar from California getting WWE ID'd? And I'll be honest, man, this whole ID program, I don't really know what it entails. I don't know what you get when you sign up. I don't know how exclusive you have become to the WWE. My understanding is once you sign the ID, an independent developmental deal, it essentially means that you are unable to participate in promotions like TNA or Ring of Honor or AEW or any of the Tony Khan-owned wrestling promotions. And essentially, you're able to still work the independents. But if somebody approaches you about a deal to work for that company, WWE has a right to sign you before you can commit to another promotion. So, if Jack Cartwheel were to say Tony Khan were to come to him now and be like, hey, no, we really wanted to sign you. That's why we kept putting you in Ring of Honor. We want to sign you. How about this? Jack can go to the WWE and say, hey, AEW, Tony Khan offered me this, what do you want to do? And at that point, then they can release him and let him sign with AEW or lock him up with a contract with the WWE that is prohibitive of him signing elsewhere. So I think it's cool, man. The problem with wrestling and the problem with monopolies are those who have the power makes the rules. And with the WWE, even with AEW being the strongest competition the WWE has had in years, they're still not as successful as the WWE. The WWE now has its content, its platform across Universal Programming, USA. They have their program on their whole library is on Peacock, which again is Universal. Raw, starting in January, is going to be on Netflix. NXT is going to be on CW, right? And so they translate through multiple platforms, multiple different distribution rights. Whereas, AEW is exclusively the Warner Brothers Discovery. They don't have another outlet. There's rumors that they might go sign with Fox, but, don't tell me about the baby pain. Show me the baby. I haven't heard, I haven't seen for sure where that deal is even in play. So it's great for the talent that are getting signed. It's going to be harder to work with those talents that are signed. Jack Cartwheel, Zara Sakara, recently signing with these ID deals essentially means that they aren't going to be allowed to be on some of the other promotions. You won't see them in MLW or probably the NWA going forward. I'm sure that Cartwheel he had his match at Salwin. I don't know if he'll have another opportunity inside the NWA now, and we'll just have to kind of wait to see how it goes. I think ultimately it's good for talent, but it's bad for the independents. And we could see what the influence that the NWA UK, the WWE UK had. And I felt like that was detrimental to the growth of wrestling on the British Isles. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping it's a good thing. I want to see everyone be successful, make money, and grow, I want to see people succeed. I want to see like people make money from this, and not just, you know, hey, I have an apartment that I share with 6 other dudes. No, I want to see people get rich and live fabulous lives doing what they love. And yeah. Let's see. What happened to Jordan Clearwater? Last time I saw Jordan Clearwater is kind of become a full-time bodybuilder. I don't know if that's his profession. I don't know what he really is doing. I know he got married shortly thereafter. He started taking less indie dates. Stopped working with the NWA. Stopped working with the United Wrestling Network. And I don't think he's wrestled a match since. Baba, Shreky Baby is here. Tyrus Jabroni. Steve G, I'm not sure what's going on with the YouTube likes. I have no idea. I haven't seen any communication from YouTube about it. If I find something, I'll let you know. Sean Mega says, you had to find an online stream of the Colors channel. And that was a daunting task. Again, it wasn't like it is now, where if you went to YouTube like today, you could find, you know, NWA programming from, you know, NWA Houston or Lone Star, whatever it was. You can find Mountain State programming. You could even find the older NWA Hollywood stuff that they were doing, the NWA Pro Wrestling stuff. But like the Colors program was exclusive, and it wasn't like you could see it anywhere else. And, you know, it was just great that they had some visibility and that somebody was paying for the NWA program. But at the end of the day, you know, the fans didn't get to see it. And thanks for the like, Bobby. Appreciate that. Willie says Colors TV was on Dish Network satellite. Yeah, they also had like I believe you could catch it streaming on the internet, but it wasn't like great quality either. The great He says here, welcome Hisa. Yeah, I remember watching the NWA during the Colors TV era. That channel used to show classic anime like Dodgeball. Or Dragon Ball. Dodgeball, jeez. I can ask you a question because since Jack Hartwell's still #1 contender for NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, Bobby, of course. Look, even if he wasn't, Cartwheel's a former NWA competitor. I mean, he challenged for the World Junior Heavyweight title at Crockett Cup. He challenged for the #1 contender spot at the 76. Last year, he wrestled Colby Corino for the World Heavyweight Junior Heavyweight title. You know, and he's wrestled for that junior heavyweight title in Mexico as well. I would say that, although probably not officially on the roster, Cartwheel has done a lot with the NWA. And I would kind of, you know, I'm not going to say he's exclusive to the NWA, but he was an NWA guy. He appeared on lots of the programs. Noob! JCP is a real classic wrestling as it's meant to be. James, are you talking about the Joe Kazana promotion, or are you talking about the other one? NXT UK. That was probably what I was trying to say. Double D, happy birthday, Devin Dowling. George turned into Carson Drake. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really I liked Jordan Clearwater's run as United Wrestling Network champion, world champion. I liked his work in the NWA. I felt like they could have done more with him. I felt like they were afraid to pull the trigger. And I think that kind of hurts them. They've brought in a lot of bigger named guys, and we'll start seeing the rollout of the names like the Colognes and Mike Mondo from the WWE. Obviously, these guys never really reach the highest pinnacles, but they do have some name recognition. I feel like the NWA was doing interesting things a few years ago, right after the pandemic. They brought in Slice Boogie. They brought in they brought in Captain Yuma. They brought in Jordan Clearwater, and you had some guys who had built their reputation on the indies. And now we're starting to see that again now too with the territory system, and similarly like the WWE ID and the territory system that the NWA is doing. I mean, all of this is really just to try to find the diamonds in the rough, to find talent that can help the company take it to the next level. I think they had that with Jordan Clearwater, and I think they squandered it. And now that I'm seeing some of the things that Slice Boogie's doing here locally in Southern California, I still think he's a guy that you're going to want to watch out for here in the coming months and maybe in the next few years. Let's see. Who would you like to see go against Danny Limelight? Well, I mean, if we're talking NWA, I mean, I think obviously my first choice would be Jack Cartwheel. I think they could have a hell of a match. But I tend to like the junior heavyweight high flying style of wrestling that Cartwheel and Danny Limelight could certainly provide. But Danny in the junior heavyweight division would be fire for the NWA. It's just that I don't know if that's what he wants to do. You know, he's out there trying to get ID'd as well. That's kind of a funny vernacular to use. Is talent wants to get ID'd by the WWE. So we'll see. Let's see. Sam Retro's in the house. Retro. Joe Kazana. Cool. Let's see. Just bought some NWA JCP merch. Nice. Oh, Hollywood Wrestling is coming to the town next to mine. I'm so freaking pumped. Dude, go to that show. Tell him Jake Cal from the Alliance blog sent you. Yeah, man. That's a big event. I'm excited to see that they are getting the ball rolling again. You know, it had been such a long time since the United Wrestling Network, specifically Dave Marquez, has put out a wrestling show. This is going to be a pretty big one. They're going to have Rhino on the card. Rhino, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, ECW World Heavyweight Champion, TNA Hall of Famer, if you will, Daddy. Danny Limelight will be defending the United Wrestling Network Championship. I also believe, I thought I knew who was going to be on the card, but now I can't remember. It's going to be pretty cool. We have the match, some of the matches up on the alliance-wrestling.com website. Talent who will be there, not matches, but the talent, like Elias is going to be there. You can walk with Elias or Elijah, whatever he's called now. Drew Gulak will be in the house. D-Man Dan Parker will be there. D-Man had formerly wrestled for the United Wrestling Network and the NWA. So that's kind of cool. Go check it out. I would like to know how that show pans out. So Double D, if you're going, snap a photo or two. Let me see. Polka Dot Pam's in the house. What is up, Pam? How you been? Pam is a darling. She's great. I love Pam. I'd like to see Danny Limelight versus Mecha Wolf. Bobby, that's a great matchup right there. That's a tremendous matchup. And that matchup was supposed to happen. They were going to do an angle in Lucha Libre EMW. EMW partners with Lucha Libre AAA in Tijuana. And what they were doing for a long time was, or not a long time, but they were building up for a Bodega or 5150 versus La Rebelión. Unfortunately, as the storyline progressed, the matches didn't line up for the right time. And the next time that the EMW and Lucha Libre AAA did an event together, La Rebelión had broken up. And Mecha Wolf was still working for AAA. But Bestia 666 had been spending some time outside of the AAA. He was actually starting to do more independents, and he was working for the Crash and EMW and Lucha Libre and pretty much a lot of different places. So he didn't get that matchup. Never happened, and I would have loved to see it. Limelight and Slice versus Mecha Wolf and Basty, I think would have been awesome. Sorry, my phone is blowing up here. Yeah, so let's see. Hey, Jay, seems like Gary Ward is getting NWA guys UK work. Is it possible he'd work with the NWA again? I don't know who Gary Ward is, Chris. I don't know who Gary Ward is. So, I mean, sure, I guess. Look, what it is the NWA needs to focus on the NWA. Now, if they have partnerships and alignments with other promotions, that means that NWA champions can travel, then I think that's amazing. That's great. But the likelihood of the NWA partnering with a promotion in the UK doesn't seem super high on the priority list for the NWA currently. Like, again, having a promotion in the UK how does that build the NWA? What does that do for Billy Corgan's NWA today? And just having a promotion in the UK isn't enough. Just having another, an international partner isn't enough. It needs to build value for the NWA. Exodus Pro is building value for the NWA by being a place for their champions to work locally, and it's helping develop stars for the brand. Same thing with Joe Kazana Promotions. Same thing with Crossfire, Chicago, and even now WLW. These promotions aren't far from each other. We're talking like a 5-hour drive. What does it cost to fly to the UK? I'll let you know in April when I fly to Scotland, and I'll tell you how expensive those flights are, because it ain't cheap, brother. That's for sure. So I don't know if that makes sense. Retro, no, the show will not be televised. It is not a TV taping. It is a live event. And I know they were going to bat for some big names out there, and they did get Elias. I know that was one of the names that they wanted, but they were trying to get some other people as well, but those plans fell through evidently. DDD, my phone is blowing me up today. Sorry, guys. Let's see. AEW took all the popular indie guys and gutted it, so WWE had to use ex-college athletes. I don't necessarily agree with that either, Shrek, because I feel like there was a lot of good talent out there that, we've been talking a lot about Danny Limelight, and he's just one of many talents. But Danny Limelight is a guy who literally for the last year has been wrestling in Puerto Rico, wrestling in Texas, wrestling in Vegas, wrestling in Alaska, wrestling in Minnesota, defending the United Wrestling Network World Championship. And he's not, he had some dates in AEW, but he wasn't an AEW guy. There's lots of independent talent out there that not getting work from AEW, or not regular work anyways. The WWE went the collegiate athlete route because I think at the time, the vision of Vince McMahon was to get guys who were athletes and teach them to be WWE wrestlers. I think Triple H's vision was always to get really good wrestlers who put their dues in and give them opportunity. And I think there's room for both. I don't think there's one direct way to do it. I mean, one of the biggest wrestlers in the last 20 years is Bill Goldberg, and he debuted on Power. On Nitro. He was a trainee of the Power plant, but he was a larger than life superstar from the world of the NFL. And when you look at currently in the WWE, like a guy like Logan Paul had a mixed martial arts background, kind of a little bit of boxing, a little bit of MMA, whatever exactly it was he did. It didn't necessarily translate to pro wrestling, but he had some stars, some celebrity, and was able to parlay that into wrestling. Obafemi is a guy, the NWA, I keep saying that, NXT North American champion, former champion. I mean, he wasn't developing in the independents to get where he is. And I would venture to guess that he's going to be a main player for the WWE going forward. And with that being said, like a guy like Braun Breaker, again, I don't remember Braun Breaker doing independent dates before signing with the WWE. But then you've got guys like MJF. So he's an AEW guy. Let's see who's locally in the WWE farm system. Who have we seen go through it? Karrion Kross. Right now, he's one of the more interesting angles in the WWE right now. Karrion Kross was a guy who was working the independents. So I think there's room for both. At least that's how about a guy like Sami Zayn, or who's the guy that everyone says I look like? Kevin Owens. That's the guy. Tell Dave we need some more Thanksgiving wrestling. Look, I don't think you have to tell Dave. It's a struggle to get people invested right now, and it's been a very down market for him, obviously, and the United Wrestling Network has not been able to get right. And I think instead of doing something that he would feel would be inferior to the product that they want to produce, he's been taking a knee. I think I know that there are some things in the works that if just one of them lands, one of them hits, we're all going to be talking about United Wrestling Network a little bit differently. But until that happens, we're just kind of waiting to see what's next for them. That date for the United Wrestling Network, and again, it's going to be in, I believe it's, I have it here, in Watertown, New York at the Jefferson Community College. That's November 23rd. Doors open at 5:30 with a bell time at 7:30. It is not being taped. It's not a televised event. So we'll see how that plans out. I love me some Bodega LAX. Those were my freaking guys. Rob the House. Yeah, Bodega was great, man. And I really feel like Papo Esco doesn't get enough credit as being the center of that trio. And I really felt they could have told a lot more stories with that. It's unfortunate that didn't happen. Bobby Batito pointing out, and I wanted to say this to Steve G, but Johnny Robbie is going to be at the New Japan show in Long Beach. I don't know how far of a drive that is for you, Steve G, but Long Beach at the Pyramid, Cal State, Long Beach. Johnny Robbie will be at that event against Mina. I'm going to kill it here, Shirakawa. I thought Gary Ward was the guy who wanted to build up NWA Europe back in the day. Chris, I don't know who Gary Ward is. I know that there was Billy Wood, who was the promoter for Fight, later IPW UK. Now they're back to Fight. He was trying to build up the NWA in Europe, specifically in the UK, but I don't think that ever came to fruition. Well, I know it didn't come to fruition. He actually made an offer to buy the NWA before William Patrick Corgan eventually did. They just didn't get to the right numbers. The official, unofficial NWA Internet Champion is here. Let's wrestle. Let's go. It looks like Portland Wrestling is trying to make a comeback, 60-plus years NWA territory. Portland with Prestige is a great spot, man. And Prestige working with Deadlock Pro Wrestling and West Coast Pro. I mean, they're bringing in some pretty good shows. And Prestige has been doing all right, I would say, out there in Oregon. Portland. Yeah, I think. Portland. Yeah. Willie Bone, not a Triple H fan. J. Cal, Baba taking Shreki Baby to Japan. Japan would be dope. Japan would be fun. Chris Drummond wants me to go to Japan with him. I think James H. Jackson wants me to go to Japan with him. I'm not going this year, but I would definitely. Wow, I can't talk anymore. Wrestle Kingdom is certainly in the cards for me, just not in 2025, maybe 26, maybe 27. Let's see. Ron Simmons played college football, then debuted his pro wrestling career in the NWA. Yeah, and Chris Drummond says Braun did a few indies in Georgia. Okay, fair enough, but I think the point I'm making is pretty clear, though. The WWE has done a very successful job at developing talent from the independents, like Walter, right? Like Damian Priest, right? While cultivating, second generation wrestlers like Dominic Mysterio, or building people who had no wrestling background whatsoever, like Logan Paul or Obafemi or Braun Breaker. I mean, can't say Braun Breaker did have some experience with wrestling, obviously, second generation wrestler. I can't say that, but I think you get the point I'm trying to make. You guys are talking about who would add value to the NWA. Viva Van, Johnny Robbie. Yeah, both of them would be great. Way to shout out Watertown. Crazy wrestling hasn't been here since WWE came in 2005. Yeah, man. And make sure when you're going, tweet about it, share it on Twitter, share it on X, share it on Facebook, because, I don't think people could appreciate what they're trying to do, what the United Wrestling Network with working with Excite Wrestling. I mean, they're coming to a place, I think that's upstate New York. I'm not exactly sure, but that doesn't get a lot of wrestling. And I think that should be celebrated because you're probably not going to get an AEW show or a WWE show anytime soon. But there is room for the independents, and United Wrestling Network is with Excite Wrestling doing just that, bringing wrestling to the people. I think that's a pretty cool deal. We had a 2-hour We had a show 2 Hour East in Malone, but that was an indie company I never heard of before, and it was once. Steve G, I want to go to that event. I haven't bought tickets yet, but I've been thinking about going. I'm telling everyone I know, if we get a big crowd, we get more pro wrestling. Exactly. And I know that this is what they call a sold show, which means that the more people show up, the more incentive the company is, the venue is to bring wrestling back to that area. West Coast Pro Wrestling should be affiliated with the NWA. I don't think the values line up, Willie. I don't think West Coast Pro Wrestling wants anything to do with the NWA. I don't think that it makes sense for either party. The National Wrestling Alliance is kind of set on doing what it's doing right now. You've got West Coast Pro Wrestling where its wrestlers kind of go everywhere. They already have built up an alliance with Deadlock Pro and Prestige. And right now you're seeing wrestlers from West Coast Pro working in Pro Wrestling Noah titles. West Coast Pro Wrestling titles are changing hands at Pro Wrestling Noah events in Japan. That to me is pretty amazing. If Hunter Drake comes back to the NWA, put him in an NWA junior heavyweight division that has a match against the junior heavyweight wrestlers. Yeah, Bobby, I think that's the plan, and I think he is going to be back. I think he's actually advertised for Saul Win, and I think he was advertised for Looks at Kill, so we'll have to kind of wait and see. Sam, yeah, your Watertown. That's your hold on, Watertown? Yeah, I think that's your Watertown, isn't it, Sam? Just here getting the latest at James H. Jackson. Exciting new. My son and I are starting catch wrestling training soon. Rosville, really? That's cool, man. Willie, the West Coast Pro Wrestling title was defended Monday in Pro Wrestling Noah. Not only was it defended, Chris Drummond, but the title changed hands. Titus O'Neil winning the title off of Kevin Blackwood. Devin, I don't know if that's actually accurate or not. I was just kind of talking out of line. I know Sam's in Uptown New York. I don't know what city he is. Plunky will kill him first on the 15th. Plunky versus Hunter Drake. Mid-American title match. Nothing mid about the Mid-American title. I can tell you that much, Daddy. And that's what Portland Wrestling making a comeback now would be perfect. Yeah, the interesting thing about that Portland Wrestling that was on, it was on the Fox affiliate out there a few years ago. The guy who ran that promotion, I think his shoot name was Morty Lipschitz, but I think he had his real name was something else. That started off as a project that was supposed to be with the United Wrestling Network and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And you'll see if you go back and look at some of those videos, there's a lot of talent that worked both. Guys like Nick Madrid, Mikey O'Shea, Big Duke. There's a few others I can't think of right now, and that didn't last very long. But it was a fun promotion, and I think it would have worked today too. It's too bad it didn't last. So yeah, this is a big week for the NWA. Obviously, we talk about Power, and Power comes on every week on the X, which has become the de facto home of the NWA. But what my guy James H. Jackson just said, or what Chris lamented earlier in the chat, NWA X's Pro coming back to YouTube has him excited. As it should, man, because they really kind of go out on these cards. Now, I don't have the entire card in front of me. I wonder if I can find it real quick. It never hurts to look, right? Let's see. Can I find it fast enough? Probably not. Let's see. I don't have a lot of time to look, but I'll look here. Okay, Exodus Pro Wrestling, the first official territory of the modern NWA. Usual Suspects taking place November 16th, which I believe is a Saturday. I believe it's this Saturday, and it will be airing on YouTube. And let's see. I'm trying to find the card for it. So far, I haven't been able to find a card for it. Let me look one more place. Nope. No card for it. All right. Well, we do know we do have one match that I am sure of that's going to be on that event. We know that the World's Heavyweight Championship will be decided in a triple threat bout as Tom Latimer defends against EC3 and Richard Holiday. Now this was a not a rematch because Richard Holiday and EC3 have spent the better part of the last year battling over the 10 pounds of gold. They only had the one official matchup, but they were certainly into each other quite a bit at Exodus Pro. Adding Tom Latimer, your new world's heavyweight champion, into the mix is going to be a dynamic element to this matchup that obviously, you look at EC3 and his promo last week on Power, which was just perfect, with indicating that Tom Latimer won the world title because EC3 needed a rival. He needed somebody greater, and not that he lost intentionally, but he sacrificed himself so that Tom Latimer would become a bigger name in the sport of pro wrestling. Pam has a great question. How many times are we going to see Latimer versus EC3? And the problem is, Pam, is I know who your favorite is. Chris Masters hasn't been in an NWA ring in over a year now. But who would you put in that place, Pam? Who out there in the NWA universe, NWA world, whatever you want to call it, the NWA galaxy, has earned a world title shot at Tom Latimer? I mean, as of right now, there's nobody on the main roster that has earned a shot. Now, with Mims being the national champion and the de facto number one contender to the title at all times, I guess you could argue Mims. The fact that Max is 4 wins as the men's television champion indicates that Max could potentially be a challenger after they've won their 4 matches. But they haven't built a person yet who would make sense in this area. Now you could argue, Baron Von Storm, former world champion, should have some credibility, but I haven't seen them do enough with Baron Von Storm, to make him a credible contender at this point. And as much as I love Tim Storm or Baron Von Storm, and as much as I love Jack Stain, I don't see either one of those guys being in title contention now. And I'm a huge Thrillbilly Silas Mason fan. I don't feel like they've done enough with Silas Mason to warrant him earning another world title shot. And certainly not after whatever this is happening on Power tonight. So you kind of have to say, well, who makes sense? And really, it's EC3. He got his number one contenders match at Solwyn, the rematch clause. Now, we don't know the results of that yet. And there is a possibility, right, that maybe EC3 wins the match at Solwyn. The NWA has had to be creative with how they book some of these things, and maybe this title match that we'll see on Saturday, maybe the champion is already somebody else by the time this match happens. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what the plan is, but ultimately, I feel like the NWA is lacking some chief rivalries. EC3 even said it during his promo that between him and Tom Latimer, they need to be bigger. They need to be better. They need to build up these stars. And I feel like the NWA, by adding Richard Holiday into the mix, now he's only an Exodus Pro competitor. We have not seen him on Power, nor do I expect to see him on Power. They need to do something to build up these guys. I don't care if it's Paul Burchill. I don't care if it's Silas Mason. Hell, I don't care if Trevor Murdoch gets another run or another opportunity to challenge for the 10 pounds of gold. They need to build these guys up to get that next opportunity. To Pam's point, Shrek says Rob Conway. I don't actually hate that. I just feel like Rob Conway at this point is past his prime. And if you're going to do that, you need to do it the right way. I mean, if you're going to bring Rob Conway in, then bring Bruce Tharp in to manage him. Fuck, let's just go. Let's just do the whole thing. Have White Lavender Jones be the ring call announcer for Rob Conway. Have him sing a ditty on his way to the ring. Have Jax join him. Have Tim join him. Make a stable out of it. Make something fun with it. Otherwise, no. Anyone who is there who might be a challenger would be boring. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, Pam. I don't see somebody who I think right away says to me, like, this is the guy that should take the belt off of Tom. You know, when Nick Aldis was world's heavyweight champion, you had Trevor Murdoch on the hunt, and it was built up for a long time. And then when Trevor was champion, initially the Cardona run, which was kind of poorly executed, if you ask me. The second Trevor run, you had Tyrus initiating his desire to challenge for that title, and it wasn't a hidden secret. It wasn't dropped out of nowhere. He was building towards that, and it had purpose. And whether you like Tyrus or not, which I did not like Tyrus, the fact that they were building that up, it at least creatively it made sense. When Tyrus lost the belt, it just kind of he had EC3. And then EC3 went through everybody on the roster, like quick. There wasn't a lot of build-up to these matches. Hell, they brought in Sam Adonis from Lucha Libre AAA at Crockett Cup with almost zero ceremony, right? It was almost a non-factor. They put him in a match with he went to All Japan Pro Wrestling. That was probably the highlight of his tenure as world's heavyweight champion. Yeah, he had victories over Jack Stain. Yeah, he had victories over what's his name? Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky. But at the end of the day, none of those were really meaningful because none of them really had any merit. And right now you got Max the Impaler, the TV champion, who I believe is 4 victories in, needs 3 more to challenge for the 10 pounds of gold. That would be very interesting. I don't know if I would love it. I don't know if I'd even like it, but it'd be something different and something interesting to challenge Tom Latimer. On the flip side, you also have, you have EC3 again. Double D has said it a couple times. Kerry Morton, strap up Kerry. Let the boys win the TV and the junior heavyweight title. Pull the Freebird rule and get the tag titles. Sixers run the shiz. Yeah, I mean, okay. But, like, I have no problem with Kerry Morton as a wrestler. And he's really grown on me. The heel Kerry Morton that we've got for the last 2 years, I feel has done so much solid work for the NWA. Has grown as a character, can tell a good story. I am not committed to putting the world's heavyweight title on Kerry Morton. I would be okay with the TV title. I'd be okay with the national title. I'm not okay with the world's heavyweight championship on Kerry Morton. Not yet. Not now. Maybe later. David Valentine says TSW to invade the NWA soon. I don't know if it's an invasion. I think it's just they're coming along for the ride. That's be the next territory announced. And even still, like, I don't know who's in TSW. That makes a lot of sense. That would be the next big thing for the NWA. EC3 versus Tom versus Richard Holiday is the main event for Usual Suspects. So a 3-way for the title. Yeah, well, okay. So we know that. Yes, James, we do know that. That match is set to happen. Saturday night, we're going to have the Usual Suspects. We also know that PB Smooth will be in action. I think he wrestles Dante Casanova for that Midwest Championship, as alluded to earlier in the chat. Chris said that, where was it, Chris? Trevor Murdoch is on the card. Tiffany Nieves versus Maya World. That's for the Exodus Pro Mission Pro Women's Championship. And again, Trevor Murdoch being on the card, that's great. That's wonderful. And I think the Midwest Championship of PB Smooth defending against Dante Casanova, I believe that's also on the card. Which those are pretty good matches. And I think Double D says, I miss Paola Blaze. Stay tuned to Women of Wrestling for Paola Blaze. I think it's going to be a fun event. And of course, that takes place on YouTube this Saturday night. YouTube.com/the NWA. Another shining example of something I think the NWA is doing correctly is putting these cards live on their YouTube channel from Exodus Pro. I don't know what that does for Exodus Pro's level of engagement for their audience, but their NWA YouTube channel currently has, and I'm pulling it up right now because I don't know off the top of my head, but they currently have over 290,000 subscribers. With 290,000 subscribers, and some of their matches, like, look, you look at their popular videos right now. 3 months ago, they put up Camille versus Natalia Markova, has been seen 1 million times on YouTube. The brutal hardcore team war at Crockett Cup, 945,000 views. Camille versus Taya Valkyrie a year ago was put up 802,000 views. So, I mean, they're getting some pretty decent views on some of the videos, some of the matches that they're putting up. Not everything is going to hit. The world title match from the 76th anniversary show, like 67,000 people watched that on YouTube, and that's to go with like the 180,000 that watched it on X. So, like, there's a lot of I would say there's a lot of positive, a lot of forward momentum right now. You know, how is it even possible that the ladder match between Eric Smalls and Rolando had 350,000 views? That's chaotic to me. But yeah, you're seeing more and more growth from the NWA, and I think this is it's positive. It's all of it's positive. Let's see. Bungie's Sam Beal and Lord Crew versus Carson Drake and the Slime Balls. What is the relationship of Carson Drake and the Slime Balls? I've got to know. Someone tell me. Dave Valentine says, Noob, don't be surprised the women's championship match becomes a three-way match with La Princesa Tiffany Nieves being added to that match. Hayden Backlund versus Trevor Murdoch. I'm not familiar with Hayden Backlund. Bobby Petito says the West Coast wrestling crew, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs, are going against the grizzled young veterans at Long Beach for the strong tag team champions. Whatever happened to Genocide? Genocide, I think she stepped away from the ring. I don't know if she's had a match since she left the NWA. If she has, she hasn't had many. Let's see. From Clearwater, Florida, Jenna Von Muscles, her last NWA match, her last match period was June 21st, 2024, in a three-way match against Camille and Natalia Markova for NWA FTW. So not that long ago, actually, just a few months ago back in June. But before that, it had been almost a year. She was a former Mission Pro champion, lost that title. Actually, no, I take it back. She won the title from Tiffany Nieves on August 12th, 2023. But, no, I said that wrong. Tiffany Nieves took the title off of Genocide on August 12th, 2023. And that was her last match before, that was her last match of 23. And the FTW show was her last match of 24. So that's what happened to Genocide. The CEO will be at the Long Beach New Japan show. I'm not the biggest Mercedes Moné fan out there. She's good. She'll put on a good match. Dave Valentine says, Maya World better watch yourself. Kay Rossi going to put her hands on her when she see her. What does that mean, David? Is Kay Rossi even still with the NWA at this point? I thought she just showed up for the Crockett Cup. The 76th anniversary show. So tonight's Power, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good on paper. Looks pretty good. Can't wait to see it. We've got some interesting some interesting matches that are going to be happening tonight. Last week I thought very highly of last week's episode of Power. We had some pretty good matches. Not sure what we're going to get this week. Obviously, you hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. I love me some Jack Stane. A submission match between Zion and Jack Stane. I don't feel like this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Neither one of these wrestlers are known as submission style wrestlers. Although in 2024, our boy Jack Stane caused Blake Bulletproof Troop to tap out. We haven't seen much of him since then. We know that Zion does a more traditional style of pro wrestling, but again, I don't know what we're going to get here. I love Jack Stane. I think the world of him. I hate the way that the NWA uses him. I don't know why he's just not out there destroying people. Just manhandling, just his bear claws, just ripping people apart. That's how I would book him, but it's not up to me. Also in action, the continuation, the feud between AJ Kazana and Tommy Rant. The Slime Balls versus the Country Gentlemen. It's on like Donkey Kong. This is one that I think very highly of AJ. I've seen a lot of good work from him as of late. Obviously, this is building towards a Slime Balls versus Country Gentlemen storyline. We know Saul win. We'll see the Country Gentlemen, AJ, Joe, and KC take on the Slime Balls and a mystery opponent at Saul win. So clearly they're building to something. I just don't know what yet. Obviously, the feud between those teams will continue. We saw a little bit at the 76, and it's a good feud for the U.S. tag titles. Although I'd rather just see the tag teams wrestle. I'd like to see that happen. We know that Murdoch will defend the world tag titles. It's usually suspect when they don't name the opponents. So, I don't know. Is this going to be Rolando and Spencer Slade? What are we doing here? I don't know who they're going to be facing in this match, but I'm just not a big fan of this. I'd rather see, the Immortals just won that Ring the Bell match. You still have some decent tag teams in the NWA. They need to do a better job of building these things up. And maybe we don't need to see Knox and Murdoch tonight wrestling and defending the tag titles. Maybe there should be a number one contenders match between, I don't know. It's hard to say because they've done such a shitty job of building the tag teams in the NWA. Right now, it seems like it seems like BFT and the Immortals just concluded. And after the match last week, we had Talus and Daisy Kill kind of, cracking on Kratos and Odinson. So maybe that's going to be a matchup that we're going to see down the road. Maybe Blunt Force Trauma needs some new dancing partners. But they should do something. They should do something to build this up. And, a tag team match with a little to no build to it doesn't excite me. Let me see some of the comments because I saw something that was pretty good there. I like Mims with black cheese. I do too. And, seeing him, in a non-title action, I'm all right with that because I don't think anyone on the roster has earned a title shot just yet. So I'm okay with it being a non-title match. Dave Valentine says, I'm hoping Kay Rossi's come back and wreak havoc on the women's roster. She's a powerhouse. She definitely is. Don't get me wrong. She's buff. She's huge. But I don't know. I haven't seen any advertisements with her name on it whatsoever, so I wouldn't get my hopes up. Zion needs an ascension up the card. Wink, wink. Okay, but they have not put him in a position to make him worthy of ascension. Ascension. They haven't done anything with him. And that's why the whole deal with Max being TV champion has been kind of hurting the brand because Max just isn't out there defending all the time. And there's been very little buildup in the NWA. You've got a lot of great talent, but it's 50-50 booking for most of these guys. And a guy like Zion shouldn't be sniffing a title match until he beats somebody, and putting him in a match with Jack Stane. If you're going to push Zion at the expense of Jack Stane, I think that's a little short-sighted, but hey, it is what it is. If you're going to push Jack Stane at the shot at the risk of hurting Zion's push, then again, it's a little short-sighted to me. You need to have some guys in here who are there to take the pinfall, the jobbers. What are we doing with Gags the Gimp right now? Quit putting Gags the Gimp in matches with other, for a worse term, jabronis. Put him in a match where he's going to put somebody over and make them look good. I don't need Gags in a match where he looks good. Gag needs to do the JOB. You need to build up your talent, and they're failing at it so much. Zion shouldn't be wrestling Jack Stane. Zion should be wrestling Gags. Jack should be wrestling Gags. Everyone should be wrestling Gags. Gag should be your jobber to the stars, to everybody. Sorry. I don't want K. Rossi to sign with the WWE ID program. They're all signing all the indie talent. They're signing some of the indie talent, not all of them. The Dane event, he is the Undertaker of the NWA. This is his yard. He should be booked as such. Yes, Roswell. There you go, brother. You and I think very much alike when it comes to Jax. He doesn't need to be world's heavyweight champion, but he should always be a perennial threat. He should always be the guy that everyone else should be walking on eggshells around. Him being Baron Von Storm's caretaker, it doesn't do it for me. In fact, I hate it. There, I said it. I'm getting tired of this Zion character. Can we just admit that Brian Idol is the long lost? There you go. I'm with you, Noob. That would be a fun swerve. What's next for the King Bees? Charity King and the Danny Bees on NWA. Yeah, we don't know, Bobby. We haven't seen them since 76. But, this is only one show afterwards, so we don't know. They could be popping up at the next, on the next matches. I don't know. James H. Jackson says, Shay, do you feel this is a lot of matches for a 45-minute show? Yes and no. I feel like not every match needs to be like a 15-minute match either, and as I pointed out, like we have some tag team matches tonight, or we have this match tonight, which I think should be probably just a squash, I'm not sure what the plan is with this match, but again, I don't need to see some sort of 5-star classic out of these two. I need to see Kazana either win very decisively or Tommy Rank, shock the world and get a victory over Kazana. This one, I honestly don't have a lot of high hopes for it, and it makes me sad because, like I said, I think the world of Jack Stane. But what are we doing with this match? Who's going to get built up here? What's the benefit of this? Who walks away looking better because of it? And I don't think anybody does. And that obviously leads us to the main event, or which I at least think is the main event. And maybe it's not, because the TV title match is a 6:05 time limit, but you got Carson Drake versus Max the Impaler. And, they had teased a little bit of dissension between Max the Impaler and Father James Mitchell, the Cinny Mini, if you will. So, this might be a good time to take the belt off of Max the Impaler. This might be the opportunity to move forward with Carson Bartholomew Drake. And again, going back to the whole Mims situation and Black G's, remember, Black G said something to Carson Drake to get him to step down, to lay down for Mims in that title match. Last week, Carson Drake beat Brian Idol without any outside interference, although he did use a foreign object. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Black G's plays a role in this. Maybe Mims will play a role in this. Remember, Mims has no love lost for Maxine Paler or Father James Mitchell. Max and Father James are the ones that took the TV title off of Mims. So there could be some animosity there, and it could be an opportunity for Carson Drake to become the new champion. I don't know. We'll see how that's going to pan out. But I think it can make for some interesting television, and that's, I think, what the NWA is desperately looking to do, is coming up with something interesting. Noob says, I hope that the NWA will build up the women's title rematch between Markovia and Kenzie for the world title at Looks at Kill for next month. Yeah, I mean, we don't even know, that match hasn't been formally announced yet. We can assume it because at Saw Win, it wasn't Markova in the main event. So hopefully, we get some sort of match announcements coming soon. For Mike Mondo, I mean, he's probably genuinely a junior heavyweight, but just like Spencer Slade, like, he doesn't look like a junior heavyweight. And for that reason, I'd put him in the regular division, the regular heavyweight division, the heavyweight division. But everything is fluid. Everything is fluid in the NWA because Mims got beat by Max. Max is a beast, Max has a victory over a couple of guys. Mr. Grimm, Max has a victory over Jake Dumas. Max has a count-out victory or a time limit draw with Mims. So, and I think there's one more too. I'm sure I'm missing it, but I will look it up right now before we say goodbye for the day. Let's see. So, as television champion, Max has been television champion now for 300 plus days. Max defeated Mims on January 13th. Max has a time limit draw with Mims, a victory over Jake Dumas, and a victory over Mr. Grimm. So Max is at 3 right now. So a win for Max would put Max 4. Which is, again, like if you look at the poster for Looks at Kill, and I know this is the older poster because it still has EC3 on it, but Max was on the cover of that poster. You got Markova, Tom Latimer, Idol, and Max. Interesting. I kind of thought that Markova might be champion before this, because then her face would be on the poster as a champion. It would make sense. Grimm did. I agree. I thought Grimm did very well in that match, and he was fast for a guy his size. And one thing that he did was he matched size with Max, but totally bested her when it came to speed and flexibility. But that's going to do it, guys. Power starts in less than 3 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me on this Tuesday. Look, if you want to help support the Alliance guys, the PreParty, the Alliance blog in general, the first and best thing to do is like, comment, subscribe on our videos. It really does help with the algorithm. It helps us grow this channel. We're at 5,500 now. Just a few months ago, we hit that 5,000 number, but we've already added another 500 in just the last couple of months. And that's all thanks to you guys watching the videos, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. Appreciate you and appreciate you doing that. If you want to help us monetarily, hey, you could buy t-shirts. We have cool ones. At least I think they're cool. We have a couple of different t-shirts, and the prices aren't too expensive. If you want to help support us that way, the merch, again, all that money funnels back into helping grow this channel. If you don't want to buy a t-shirt, but you still want to help support us financially, W, a very clean energy. It's a powder mix that you mix with your water, and gives you the same kind of energy that you'd get from some of the canned beverages that are out there. We do have a partnership with W, so anytime you make a purchase from them, we do get a commission from that. Or hey, maybe you don't want W, and maybe you don't want merchandise, but maybe you need a title for your business, right? Maybe you need an award or a trophy for your fantasy sport team. We have also partnered with Trophy Smack, where we earn a little bit of commission if you guys purchase a trophy, title, or any kind of an award set up from Trophy Smack, which is completely customizable. And we haven't submitted my design yet, but hopefully in 2025 you'll see the Alliance belt. TAB TBD. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for joining the show. It's always a good time here on Tuesdays. We'll be back on Thursday, where DK, Jaden, and myself will be talking about tonight's episode of Power and so much more. Until next time, we'll see you guys. You ready? I'm not ready. Are you ready? Wait, hold on. Matches. Thanks for checking out the PreParty, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.